My name's Rachel Tisdale, 29, living in a small but not small enough town in Pennsylvania where the winters are passive-aggressive and the family drama is aggressive-aggressive. I've been dating my boyfriend, Jordan, for 3 years. He's steady, kind, a little emotionally constipated, but what man raised by a steel spine, soft voice mother isn't? We met at work, HR orientation for new hires. He made a joke about my last name sounding like a toothpaste brand, and I didn't punch him. Chemistry. Things were good. Not fairy tale good, but the kind where you know their coffee order and what not to bring up when they're tired. We moved in together last fall. I kept my apartment just in case, because I've seen women give up too much too early, and I wasn't about to join their ranks. But this story isn't about Jordan. Not really. It's about Lexi. His sister. Lexi is 31 and acts like she's 22 on a Red Bull 4 drip. Think yoga pants suburban Barbie meets I've done a real cleanse influencer, but with a moral compass made of glitter and gaslighting. She has that kind of bright, brittle energy that makes you question whether she's complimenting you or cursing your bloodline. From day one, Lexi smiled at me like I was a houseplant she didn't really believe could thrive. Oh my God, I love your hair. So natural. You're a project manager? That's like being organized for a living. I'm just so glad Jordan found someone who keeps him grounded. He's dated some really ambitious women and they just overwhelmed him. You get it. Now, Jordan is a great guy, but he's been distant lately. I don't mean texting less distant. I mean, watching basketball with headphones in, saying nothing's wrong while chewing like I invented noise, and sighing at me like I'm a bill he forgot to pay. One Tuesday night, after yet another dinner where I spoke to a brick wall in a hoodie, I did something I never do. I texted Lexi. I know, but I didn't have siblings, and at that point, I just wanted someone who knew Jordan who could maybe tell me if I was losing my mind or if he was actually acting like a human post-it note that says, meh. I was honest. Vulnerable. I wrote, "Hey, this might sound weird, but has Jordan said anything to you lately? He's been kind of withdrawn, and I don't know if it's stress or me or what. I feel like I'm trying really hard and it's not landing. I'm not trying to dump on you. Just needed a second opinion." She replied in under 5 minutes. Ratch, I totally get it. You're not alone. I'll check in with him. Promise. Don't stress. And I didn't. For like 1.5 glorious days. Then came Saturday. Jordan's mom texts me. Hope everything's okay. Saw the group chat. Praying for peace. The group chat. You know the one, every big family has one. Ours has a mix of prayer hands, minion memes, and extremely unfunny dad jokes from Uncle Frank. It also now had a screenshot of my private message to Lexi, cut just enough to look like I was accusing Jordan of cheating, gaslighting, and murder. Lexi posted it. Captioned it with, "Not trying to stir anything, but just concerned." She posted my private message to the whole family. His mom, his dad, his aunts, his cousins, even Jordan. And no one said a word. Not even Jordan. I saw the read receipts. I saw the silence. That's when something in me clicked. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't even going to argue. I was going to smile, take notes, and burn her to the ground quietly. This is how I got my revenge on the woman who thought leaking my message would make her look smart. She was wrong. The thing about getting publicly humiliated is you don't even realize how fast it happens until you're already on fire. Saturday, 2:11 p.m. I'm at Target, standing in the throw pillow aisle, debating between moss green and forest fern when my phone buzzes like a shaken soda can. 17 messages. All from the Tisdale family chat. Now let me explain what the TFC is. It's an unholy blend of prayer requests, screenshots of Aldi sales, and Lexi's self-congratulatory fitness photos. Day 7 of kale-only smoothies. Skin is glowing. I rarely chime in unless someone asks about tech support or which water filter actually works. But I opened it. God help me, I opened it. And there it was. My text to Lexi, cherry-picked and reposted like some kind of dramatic monologue. She cut off the part where I said I was trying to understand. She kept the part that read, "He's distant, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong." She captioned it with, "Just wanted to make sure everyone's aware of what's being said. I hate secrecy." The moment I read that, I actually laughed. A weird, stunned, "You did not just laugh." The kind of laugh you make before your nervous system decides whether it's going to cry or start an indoor fire. Then came the replies. "Oh wow. This is sad. Maybe this is why Jordan's been stressed. Not my business, but maybe this should have stayed private." And not a single message from Jordan. Not one. The best part? She left just enough ambiguity for plausible deniability. Lexi's a master at this. She's the kind of person who could tell you your haircut looks so much better now and leave you wondering what she meant for a week and a half. The caption wasn't directly blaming me, but it implied everything. I called Jordan. No answer. I texted, "Why is my private message to Lexi in your family group chat?" He replied, "She thought we needed to talk about it. Don't blow this out of proportion." Blow this out of proportion? Sir, you've got one job as a boyfriend, and it's this. Don't let your sister publicly dissect my mental health like it's the Thanksgiving turkey. And he liked Lexi's post in the group chat. Liked it. Like it was a puppy photo or a wedding announcement. I remember standing in the aisle, surrounded by throw pillows, feeling like the air had been sucked out of the store. People passed me with carts full of scented candles and off-brand cereal, and I stood there like my relationship had just been subtweeted by an entire bloodline. Later that evening, I confronted Lexi. She answered the door with a fake concerned face, like she'd just watched a sad documentary and wanted to talk about mental health awareness. "Oh my God, Rachel," she said, "I didn't mean to send it there. I was trying to help. I just copied and pasted it too fast, I guess. Everyone took it way too seriously." She said that. Copied and pasted it too fast. Like we were talking about a bad meme, not a deeply personal confession I sent in confidence. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tear into her with every word I had. But I didn't. Instead, I smiled. I said, "It's okay. Mistakes happen." Because here's the thing. When someone stabs you in the back, don't yank the knife out. Turn around, smile, and let them twist it deeper. Next time, I'd be holding the handle. The Sunday after the group chat incident, I woke up with that weird hangover you get from emotional betrayal. Not quite a headache, but everything's just slightly too loud. The fridge hums aggressively. The faucet drips with sinister rhythm. Even my cat refused eye contact. She knew. Jordan made eggs. Like it was a normal morning. Like his sister hadn't just paraded my anxiety in front of everyone with the grace of a tabloid editor. "Wanna eat?" he said, sliding a plate toward me. I looked at the plate. Looked at him. I texted Lexi in confidence, I said. And she put it in a family chat like I was a group project gone rogue. "And you said nothing." Jordan picked at his eggs like they had suddenly become very complex. "She made a mistake, Ratch. She said she didn't mean it." That was the beginning of a phrase I would hear way too often in the coming weeks. She didn't mean it. Like intent could retroactively wipe out impact. That day, Jordan's mom texted again. "Hope things calm down soon. Lexi didn't mean to hurt you. She was just trying to help." Lexi didn't reach out. Not directly. But she did post a picture of a quote on her Instagram story. "If they talk behind your back, they're already behind you." In Comic Sans. With a sparkle gif. This girl had the nerve to position herself as the victim. Jordan said I was being paranoid. Lexi's just like that. You know how she is. Yeah, I did. That's when I realized something crucial. Lexi had never been held accountable for anything. She was the family's golden retriever in Lululemon, cute, loud, messy, and totally untrained. She'd blow up a family brunch and still get told she had a good heart. Every slight, every dig, every backhanded compliment, no one called her on it. So I made a decision. I wasn't going to scream or post a Notes app apology calling her toxic. I wasn't even going to block her. I was going to get close. I texted her that afternoon. Hey, I just wanted to say, I believe you. It hurt, but I know you didn't mean it that way. Let's just move on. She replied in 60 seconds. OMG, Ratch, I'm so glad. I really was worried you'd stay mad. You're seriously so emotionally mature. Emotionally mature. A label women get slapped with when they don't respond to blatant disrespect by setting a car on fire. I suggested coffee the next weekend. I told her we should rebuild. And Lexi? She leaned right into it. Oh my God, yes. Let's do a spa day or something too. You're seriously like the sister I never had. And in that moment, I smiled at my phone like it was a loaded weapon. Because if she wanted me to be her sister, she'd get exactly what she asked for. Lexi picked the cafe. Of course she did. It was one of those places where the coffee costs more than a gallon of gas and comes in glasses the size of toddler fists. Plants hung from the ceiling like we were inside a Pinterest board. Lexi arrived 15 minutes late, smelling like coconut lotion and high self-regard. She hugged me like we were actresses on a reunion tour, then launched into small talk so aggressively it took me 3 sips to realize she hadn't asked me a single question. Which was fine. I wasn't there to talk. I was there to listen. Lexi, God bless her, has never had a filter. She talks like someone trying to narrate her own reality show. And when she thinks she's in a position of power, she overshares. Massively. So I nodded, smiled, responded just enough to keep her going. And oh, did she go. First, the job. So I told my parents I quit because of toxic management, but between us, she leaned in like we were co-conspirators. I was fired. They said I missed too many meetings, but I swear it was all politics. And lateness. But who's even on time anymore? Me. I'm on time. But sure. Then, the breakup. You cannot tell Jordan, okay? But Lucas totally dumped me. And I told everyone it was mutual because, I need to stay empowered, you know? But he said I was too much. Whatever that means. I knew what it meant. So did Lexi. But self-awareness is hard when you're busy posing with your smoothie. She went on. Maddie, her best friend, hadn't spoken to her in weeks. Apparently, Lexi had started a rumor Maddie was sleeping with her ex. I didn't mean for it to spread, she said, twirling her straw. But once I said it to Kayla, it kind of took off. I watched her as she talked. Her eyes sparkled with the glee of her own chaos. She was proud. She thought this made her interesting. By the end of that coffee, I had 3 mental files and a not-so-mental one in my phone's notes app titled Lexi Lies Inventory. Date stamped. Categorized. Annotated. That night, I replayed everything she told me while Jordan was in the shower. And that's when it hit me. Lexi was an expert at seeding destruction and walking away clean. She'd done it so long, she believed she was immune. But the thing about people like Lexi is that they never realize when someone like me, quiet, patient, furious, is finally taking notes. They think silence is submission. They think forgiveness is approval. They think politeness is permission. It isn't. It's the pause before the cut. And I had just been handed every blade I needed. I didn't want to destroy Lexi. Not at first. I wanted her to understand what it felt like. To speak, then see everyone shift in their seats. To wonder what people knew and who told them. To smile through a conversation while your stomach dropped through the floor. I wanted her to sit in the discomfort she'd served me so easily. And I had the perfect opportunity. Jordan's cousin, Vanessa, was throwing a baby shower. Big deal for the family. Vanessa had struggled for years with fertility issues, and this was, in Jordan's mom's words, a miracle baby. The whole Tisdale clan would be there. Aunts, cousins, grandmas, and at least 3 toddlers with the energy of illegal fireworks. Lexi, of course, was on the planning committee. Not because she's helpful, but because she's loud and photogenic. I knew she'd take center stage. I just needed to help her shine, a little too brightly. That morning, I offered to give her a ride. She climbed into my car holding 2 gift bags and a Starbucks order long enough to require footnotes. "You're seriously a lifesaver," she said. I would have had to Uber, and that driver last time smelled like boiled eggs and betrayal. I smiled and said nothing. At the shower, Lexi flitted around in a white sundress that was suspiciously bridal. She talked about curating aesthetics and said things like, "We're just so blessed," while barely lifting a finger. Meanwhile, I helped Vanessa's sister set up chairs, carried the diaper cake, don't ask, and made sure the vegan guests had options. I wasn't just visible, I was useful. That's important. People forgive a lot in people they find helpful. Then came the small talk circle. If you've ever been to a baby shower in suburban Pennsylvania, you know the drill. Someone brings up careers, and suddenly it's less about babies and more about resume power ranking. Lexi was mid-monologue about her creative pivot when someone, Vanessa's cousin, I think, asked why she left her last job. "Oh," she said, tossing her hair, "corporate just didn't vibe with me anymore. I'm focusing on building my own brand now. Authenticity over salary, you know." She smiled like she'd said something noble, and I, so gently, with the softest voice I've ever used, said, "I think it's amazing how well you've bounced back after the termination. Most people would just spiral. But you really handled it with grace." Dead silence. You could hear the mimosa bubbles bursting. Lexi froze. I saw it, just for a second. Her jaw tightened. Her eyes did a half blink like a system reboot. "Oh," she said, laughing too high. "That wasn't, it was mutual, you know?" I tilted my head like a concerned therapist. "Of course. Mutual decisions can still hurt. You should be proud." I turned and asked the woman beside me where she got her shoes. Conversation resumed. Lexi didn't. That's how you start. Not with a scream. With a whisper in a crowded room. Because now, every time someone looked at Lexi that day, she had to wonder what they were really thinking. And I knew that once that seed was planted, it would bloom all by itself. The funny thing about revenge is how much of it is administration. People think it's fire and fury, tables flipped, cars keyed, social media meltdowns. But no. Revenge, real revenge, is closer to project management. You don't need to rage. You need a timeline, a strategy, and an inbox full of receipts. So when I ran into Maddie, it wasn't an accident. It was Wednesday afternoon, and I was at the artsy coffee shop downtown, the one with uneven tables and passive-aggressive tip jars. I knew Maddie worked nearby because Lexi had told me months ago during one of her overshare fests. "Oh my God, Maddie's so dramatic," she'd said, sipping a matcha she didn't pay for. She went nuclear because I might have told Kayla she got back with her ex. She shouldn't have done it if she didn't want it talked about. Translation: Lexi started a rumor that wrecked Maddie's reputation, then played victim when called out. And somehow, in Lexi's version of events, Maddie was the problem. So when I spotted Maddie across the cafe alone, hunched over her laptop with a half-empty Americano, I introduced myself. I didn't open with Lexi. I asked what she was working on. We chatted about bad Wi-Fi and worse bosses. 10 minutes in, I mentioned I'd been spending more time with Lexi lately. Maddie looked up, expression neutral, but guarded. Like I touched a live wire. "You two are close?" she asked carefully. "We've been talking a lot lately," I said. She said you two are reconnecting, that things were better. Maddie blinked once. Twice. She said that. I nodded and sipped my drink. Maddie stared down at her keyboard for a long beat, then said, softly, "I haven't spoken to her in almost a year. Not since she told everyone I was sleeping with Jason." I wasn't. He was dating my roommate. There it was. The kind of hurt that doesn't rage, it lingers. "I'm sorry," I said. And I meant it. Because Lexi didn't just break people down. She did it with such confidence that others believed her. And the rest of us were expected to keep smiling. We exchanged numbers. I left it at that. No pressure. Just connection. Later that week, Lexi called me. "Did you seriously talk to Maddie?" she said, voice higher than usual. She texted me something super weird, like didn't know we were friends again. Like, what even? "What did you say?" I let the silence breathe. Then I said, "Just that you told me things were good between you two." I didn't mean to cause drama. Lexi went quiet on the line. Not angry. Not panicked. Just calculating. The seed was planted. The next week, Lexi posted a group selfie from a girls' brunch, tagging everyone but Maddie. An hour later, Maddie posted a screenshot of the group text where Lexi had told everyone Maddie was unstable. Captioned simply, "I don't forgive liars, even if they wear designer." Lexi texted me in a panic. I didn't think she'd go public. She's such a drama magnet. Why would she even bring this up now? I replied, "You said you two were good." Maybe she just wanted to clear the air. No one said anything in the family chat that week. Lexi stayed quiet. And I stayed helpful, supportive, innocent. Because sometimes revenge isn't about making people hate you. It's about making them trust you more than they should. When I tell you that Lexi lived for weddings, I mean it. She didn't just attend them. She branded them. She had a Google Doc template for planning gifts, kept a formal wear highlight reel on her Instagram, and once created a whole Pinterest board called Wifey Vibes while very much single. She even claimed she cried at ceremonies, though I'd only ever seen her cry when she couldn't get a last-minute gel manicure. So when her high school best friend Kayla finally got engaged, Lexi hit the ceiling. "I've been manifesting this for her," she said, as if Kayla's proposal had been a team effort. Lexi was made a bridesmaid, obviously. Kayla's too sweet for confrontation and too nostalgic to question the friendship that had long since tilted into one-sidedness. And for months, Lexi made it about her. I told Kayla she should lose 10 pounds before the wedding, like, gently. Her fiancé's family is so basic. I had to redo the centerpiece designs myself. I'm probably the only one who knows how to speak during the toast without sobbing like a toddler. I listened. And I waited. The wedding was set in a vineyard, all string lights and soft jazz. Jordan and I showed up a little late, not enough to be rude, just enough to avoid pre-ceremony chatter. Lexi was front and center, beaming with that particular kind of self-importance that makes you wonder if she thinks she's the one getting married. Dinner was winding down. Speeches had started. A groomsman said something sweet and awkward. The bride's cousin read a poem that made Kayla's dad cry. Then Lexi stood up, glass in hand, the floor hers. And honestly, it started well. She kept it light. Mentioned their high school years, inside jokes, how Kayla was always the romantic and I was the realist. Then came the pivot. Lexi said, "And now that I'm engaged myself, some of you know Lucas, he couldn't make it. I feel like I really understand what Kayla must be feeling." Kayla blinked. Half the room turned to me. I kept chewing my risotto. Lexi beamed like she'd just announced world peace. But I knew something she didn't. See, I'd had lunch with Kayla 2 weeks prior. Not an ambush. Not even revenge. Just a friendly chat over salad and shared Lexi fatigue. And during that lunch, Kayla had mentioned something interesting. Lexi said she and Lucas broke up like 6 months ago, but then she said they're back together. Honestly, I'm confused. I've never even met the guy. Neither had anyone else. Because Lucas didn't exist anymore. After the toast, people started whispering. Kayla pulled me aside. Did Lexi really get engaged? She's never said anything to me. And she kept saying we about the wedding like she planned it. She didn't even RSVP to the rehearsal dinner. I gave her a look, wide-eyed, confused, mirroring her own disbelief. I don't know, I said gently. I think she's been going through a lot. It's probably just nerves. Kayla nodded. But the damage was done. The next day, Kayla posted a thank you reel from the wedding. Lexi wasn't tagged. Her speech wasn't included. Her name wasn't mentioned. 2 days after that, Lexi texted me. WTF is wrong with Kayla? She unfollowed me. Didn't even repost my photo. What did I do? I responded the way Lexi would have. Some people just can't handle other people's light. She sent back a heart emoji. And just like that, she believed me again. Every summer, Jordan's family rents a lake cabin that sleeps 12 and somehow fits 25. It's the kind of trip where everyone forgets sunscreen, drinks too much Chardonnay by noon, and pretends Monopoly doesn't end in blood. This year, Lexi was unusually quiet in the group chat leading up to it. No Pinterest boards. No here's the aesthetic posts. No packing lists with 6 skincare items labeled must-have. Just excited to get away. That's when I knew. The wedding fallout had rattled her more than she let on. The cracks were forming. Now all I had to do was make sure everyone saw them. We arrived Friday afternoon. Lexi rolled up solo, no fiancé, no brand collab, duffel bags, just her and an iced coffee. She looked, not disheveled, exactly, but like someone pretending they weren't unraveling. She gave me a tight hug and said, "Ugh, I'm so glad we're here. I needed nature. And maybe tequila." The first night was chill. Card games. Mosquito bites. Jordan's dad grilled in socks. His mom served potato salad like it was fine china. Lexi bounced between people like a lost beach ball, laughing too loudly, opening wine she didn't bring, and changing the subject whenever someone asked how Lucas was doing. Then, Saturday morning. That's when I made my move. We were sitting on the porch, sipping coffee while the lake fog burned off. Jordan's dad brought up retirement plans, which led, somehow, to job talk. Lexi launched into her usual bit. Corporate life is such a trap. I just realized, I'm too creative for meetings, you know. His dad chuckled and said, "Didn't you say your new company gave you equity or something?" Lexi blinked. Yeah, I mean, kind of. I'm still negotiating offers, though. Got a few things cooking. I took a long sip of my coffee. And then, like it was an afterthought, I said, "Wait, didn't you say you were still on severance until October? That's such a good buffer. Wish my old job offered that kind of package when I got laid off." I even chuckled. Self-deprecating. Light. Silence. Jordan's dad lowered his mug. You got laid off? Lexi hesitated. Well, yeah. But we mutually. Jordan's mom frowned. Honey, that's not what you said in the group chat. You told us you walked away. Lexi's mouth opened. Closed. It's kind of complicated. No one spoke. She turned to me, eyes narrowing. Rachel, I didn't mean for that to come out like that. I gave her the same serene smile she gave me months ago, back when she pasted my soul into the family group chat. Oh, I didn't think it was a secret. You said it over coffee that day, remember? I thought it was empowering, honestly. Jordan's mom folded her arms. Jordan's dad took a very slow sip of coffee. Lexi muttered something about needing Advil and disappeared inside. I didn't follow. Later that night, Jordan said, I think Lexi's having a hard time lately. I nodded. She probably needs some space. What I didn't say. Lexi had built her image on being adored, being unshakable. Now, for the first time, she'd felt the tremor of people doubting her. And once doubt enters a family, like water in a crack, it spreads. All I had to do was let it freeze. By the time we got home from the lake, Lexi was a different animal. Not visibly, not dramatically. Lexi didn't collapse or storm out or throw a single glass of rose. No, she did something worse. She tried to recover. She posted a photo from the weekend, her in a bathing suit, staged beside the dock, edited to high heaven, with the caption, "Sunsets heal everything," and #grateful. The likes were down. The comments were polite but thin. Even her cousin, who normally wrote essays, just said, "Cute." Jordan's mom didn't share it to her Facebook. Lexi was unraveling. And she knew it. The following week, I went back to normal life. Work, errands, folding laundry while watching dating shows that made me feel superior. But there was one thing left to do. Because through all of this, Lexi never once apologized. Not for posting my private message. Not for throwing me under the bus to her entire family. Not for turning my relationship into gossip fodder with a few taps of her phone. And I'd let her get away with it. Quietly, deliberately, for months. But I wanted her to know. Not that I'd hurt her, but that I had planned it. So one night, after Jordan fell asleep watching the Phillies game, I opened my phone and wrote her a message. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you. When you posted my message in the group chat, it really clarified things for me. Taught me how people like you move. So I adjusted. And now I understand how to handle you. Appreciate the lesson. I read it 3 times. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't cruel. It was honest. Then I hit send. She read it immediately. No reply. No dots, no typing, no fake excuses. Just silence. The next morning, Jordan woke up to a ping from the family group chat. Lexi had left it. No explanation. No grand exit. Just gone. Later that week, his mom called me. Lexi's taking a break from social media, she said, almost cautiously. She said she needs time to focus on herself. I said, that's probably good for her. And meant it. Because here's what people like Lexi don't understand. The damage she did to me wasn't just a moment of embarrassment. It was a public erasure of trust. She weaponized my vulnerability for clout, for control, for attention. And she thought I would do what every other woman in this family had done, swallow it, smile through it, pretend it was okay. She didn't expect someone who would wait. She didn't expect someone who would keep smiling while the floor gave out beneath her. She didn't expect me. And now, when she walks into a room full of her own family, she hears the whispers, sees the sidelong glances. And she never quite knows which truth is going to surface next. But I do. Because I planted them. All of them. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. But that's not quite right. It's not cold. It's quiet. It's the sound of your name being spoken in a tone just a little too careful. The silence after you leave the room. The way no one quite looks you in the eye the same way again. That's what Lexi lives with now. I didn't scream. I didn't post a tell-all or demand an apology or make Jordan pick sides. I didn't humiliate her like she did to me. I did worse. I stayed. I sat at the family table and passed the potatoes. I laughed at Uncle Frank's bad jokes. I asked about Jordan's mom's bunion surgery and listened. Actually listened. I became someone the Tisdales liked. Trusted. Lexi? She made herself the outlier. She tried to joke through it. That didn't work. She tried to play the victim. That didn't land either. Eventually, she stopped coming to things. Said she was focusing on healing, like she was Gwyneth Paltrow on a retreat. But really, she was hiding from her own reflection. And Jordan? He never asked about the message I sent her. He never asked what really happened at Kayla's wedding, or why Maddie stopped talking to his sister, or how his dad suddenly knew the truth about Lexi's job. But he did start paying more attention. He started watching how Lexi spoke to people, how often her version of events didn't match anyone else's. A few weeks ago, he looked at me across the kitchen counter and said, "I think my sister's not as good a person as I thought." I just said, "Oh," and handed him a plate of pancakes. It's not that I needed her punished. I just needed her unmasked. I needed her to feel what it's like to be doubted, to walk into a room full of smiles and not know if any of them are real. Because she did that to me. She made me feel small and paranoid and ashamed of being vulnerable. She opened up my chest in front of people who didn't know me and called it helping. And the moment I didn't crumble, she decided I was the villain. But I wasn't. I was patient. I was kind. And then I was done. Now Lexi avoids me. Not out of fear, but out of recognition. She knows what I did. Not every piece of it. Not exactly how. But she knows I was the one holding the needle when the threads started to fray. And the best part? I'm still here, laughing at birthdays, pouring wine at game nights, petting the family dog like nothing ever happened. Because when you're smart enough to play the long game, you don't need to raise your voice. You just raise the stakes. And watch as the house they built on lies folds like a cheap folding chair.